Okay, it's Monday, July 10th at 4:33, and this is the Ogdenburg Bridge and Port Authority Finance Committee meeting. And we'll start with business items and May financials, and I'll ask Patty to do those.
All right. If we look at the statement of financial position first, you'll notice that our accounts receivable regular are at 184,000, which means our money is coming in as quickly as we're billing it out. We have about 90% of it coming in either current or 1 to 30 days. That accounts receivable for AEAS has been paid off. We had, there has been a problem with AEAS. You cannot submit your reimbursements online at the moment. There's a glitch in the system, so it all has to be manually done, which is taking more time to get the reimbursements back. If we go down to our payables under liabilities, our regular accounts payable are at 505. The AEAF is at 466, and right now those are the only two payables that we have. We have no retirement bill yet. Oh, there was a little project accounts payable. And the McFarland Johnson, we just found out, we're going to pay them a portion of what we owe them to get the process started. We're not certain how long it's going to take. It could take about 45 days because there are a number of parties in this that have to review the reimbursement request before it actually gets paid back. So we're trying it with some of their invoices to see how it works. And if you look on the second page, you'll notice the Tompkins Trust Security Reserve Deposit is at 297. We only need 200 for the compensating balance. We're leaving that in so that we have the additional income to pay the portion of the Chrissy grant that is not covered by the reimbursement. So we're sort of stockpiling our own money so that it's there to pay down the line of credit. The M&T, that is at 298 in July and January. We have two very large payments that have to go to Wilmington Trust for the bond. And so that money is being, in essence, stockpiled by M&T so that Wilmington Trust can be paid in July. And July is interest and principal. Our accounts payable, our first vendor has been paid half in June, and we're trying like crazy to scrape the other half to pay them off in July. Our second vendor has been paid $60,000 in June, but we have new invoicing for $42,000. Our third vendor has been paid $42,000, and we have a new invoice for $20,000. And the last two vendors have been paid off completely. Are there any questions on the statement of financial position?
Nope, not for me.
Yep, I'm good.
Anybody else? We'll move on to the budget to actual. Our bridge revenue is up. Remember, bridge revenue is not just toll income, but this also includes our rental income for the bridge and the admin building and the wide loads, oversize, any of the extra services that have to go on the bridge. So we are up approximately $14,000 for the year to date. Airport revenue is down just a little bit. Most of that airport revenue is based on the price per turn. And if we lose a few flights, we lose a few turns and therefore a little money. The fuel sales at the airport Contour did not buy any fuel in May, so that's the difference you'll see in the fuel. Our AEAS service, there were flights added by Contour, 2 additional flights, so you'll see a slight increase in income, and that will continue, I believe, through the summer. Our industrial park revenue is almost spot on. Our marine terminal revenue is up. One of the biggest things to remember is that the interest that is received on the money that is being held for the Port Dock expansion program is income, and it's in there. It's 1/3 of the year-to-date actual. So that will continue to be larger than we expected because we are getting a fair bit of interest on that. We also had income for new tarps and tarp removal to offset some of the expenses on the tarp removal. So far in expenses, we're looking really good on almost every line. The legal expenses for the bridge, right now, we have some things that I think probably belong in other places, but they're put by the attorney under general expenses. The port security grant, the port infrastructure development program are in their general listing, but it's also the line of credit, the border dissolution, the trailer title, childcare, and Leo legislation.
You know, there's a large drop in general expenses. Not that that's bad, but is it because we're moving things to a different month? Was there something that?
Yeah, permanently.
Yes.
We're just,
We're trying
Deferred.
we're trying to hold expenses as best we can. So whether we defer something or we just don't do it,
Okay.
that will be the answer. Under the airport, our maintenance expenses, we had the duct vent cleaning that had not been budgeted, that was requested, and that was $7,200. That is a majority of the overage we'll see in the maintenance expense. And then the AEAS expense at the bottom ties to the income. It's the additional flights added by Contour. Industrial park, our general expenses appear to continually be that free trade zone expense that we had not budgeted for or anticipated, which was $3,300. Otherwise, we're pretty much on target with their expenses. The employee benefits under the marine terminal, currently all unemployment payments are being paid to non-working ILA members. So that's where, so we've left unemployment with the marine terminal. Maintenance expenses, we've had a number of things. We had to have the tarp removal for both of our salt vendors. We've had $3,000 in diesel fuel purchases. We've had the scale repair when it got hit by lightning. We had to rent the equipment to crush all the salt on the pier. And we've had some repairs, and all the repairs seem to be about $1,100 that we've had to have during this fiscal year so far. And the legal expense, that is all work that's being done on the ILA grievance. Are there any questions so far on the budget to actual?
I had a question about fuel.
Yes.
Just kind of go buying, is that the something to?
No, they've picked back up purchasing fuel, have they not?
Yep, so this month Contour did took a good amount of fuel. This month alone, yeah, they had came back picking up on fuel, so.
That's kind of an in and out thing anyway, but this was.
Right. Okay, then if we look at the cash flow, June to November, it's pretty much what we're expecting it will be. The July other income and capital expense is the Chrissy items. And then we're hoping to bring in some money for November to offset the purchase of the dump truck. And those are the two real anomalies that we can see. Otherwise, pretty much what we expect. I keep honing it every time we see changes in payroll or utilities. And this document I can adjust where we can't adjust the budget. So this one we can look at a little bit. I took the numbers that we have and just did a general income. And we can pay salaries and wages, payroll taxes and benefits, insurance, commercial, and all debt. And we're still in the black as soon as we start to add all the other things. We can pay utilities also, but after that, that's when we will start going into the red. So I wanted to just find a place where we could see what was actually covered by the cash flow and then what wouldn't be.
Well, as Chris has said in the past, this cash flow sheet is really good. And the people don't have their nose in it every day.
Yeah.
And it helps us get a pretty clear picture of what's going, where you're going, so. It's not the way we want it, but it is
No.
appreciated, so.
We will be out of my little cash hideaway is almost empty. We have a couple of pieces of good news. We're getting a salt ship tomorrow, which is early. So that's 45 days probably before we'll see that money from that vendor. And we took the OBPA roadshow down to Syracuse to the MWBE conference, the big expo. Anthony came down as Director of Economic Development. Karen came with us as Senior Admin Assistant. I'd like her to get more involved in the actual procurement, see if we can use more of them. And Jennifer came down for accounting so that we could get our names out there, our faces out there. They had 150 registered, so it was a nice little conference. Good way for us to start with getting into the MWBE and SDVOPC.
Good.
Good.
He hasn't been to the embassy.
I'm working on the invite.
You're all done?
Yes, I'm done.
I'm all set?
You're all good?
Yep.
Is there anything else to come before the finance committee meeting?
Well, Mr. Chairman,
In that case, I motion we adjourn.
We'll take a vote. So all those in favor? say
Aye.
Motion is carried. Meeting is adjourned at
4:46.
46.